Maybe you've heard the statistics about child, adolescent, and adult sexual abuse. Depending on which study you read, researchers tell us that about 1 in every 4 or 5 females and about 1 in every 6 to 8 males experience some kind of unwanted sexual experience before they reach the age of 18. Go on further into adulthood and talk specifically about women. 1 in 6 women from the age of 18 and up experience an attempted or completed sexual assault at some point in their adulthood. Honestly, when I read statistics like that, it's really discouraging, and in fact, it's depressing. Depending on a variety of factors, such as the severity of the abuse, the victim's inborn personality style, the young person or the adult's accessibility to social support, family support, mental health support, the effects of this form of trauma, sexual abuse, can range from anywhere from simply being hurtful to being devastating. In my work, I've treated and evaluated people in psychiatric hospitals, long-term treatment centers, abuse shelters, county jails, state prisons, and it's widely known that the good people, and they are good people, in these facilities are much more likely than the population at large to be survivors of abuse, including sexual assault. I really enjoy it when I hear from former clients who contact me and tell me that they're doing better than they were when they were in the midst of an abusive relationship. I'll be honest though and say that I sometimes hear from clients, former clients, who let me know that their life is still a train wreck because they're suffering from the after effects of things that happened many years ago. I know I can't give you a short, simple answer about how to get over being sexually abused. I do have a link to a book I've written below this video that may be of help to you. But in the few minutes you and I spend together here, I want to give you 3 specific words of encouragement. The first word is this. When people learn that you're a victim of sexual abuse, most people don't know what to say or how to respond. I hate to say it, but some people say and do things that can essentially re-traumatize you if you're a victim. For example, they might offer empty advice, or they might even look down on you as if you did something wrong, which you did not. May I give you permission to discount the responses these people offer? Most people mean well when they try to give you an encouraging word, even if they don't express themselves adequately. But the fact is this, what people say and do to you after the fact says absolutely nothing about you and your worth as a person, as in none whatsoever. Rather, it speaks of them and their position in life. It's been my experience with abuse survivors that successful survivors learn to compartmentalize their trauma. That is, they recognize that what someone else did to them does not define them. And further, they recognize that healing comes from within, not from without. To wait on somebody else to respond correctly to you, to validate you, prevents you from moving forward. Instead, determine that you and you alone will be in charge of what you think of yourself in spite of your experience. Routinely check in with yourself by asking questions such as, what are my strengths as a person? Which of my recent decisions were good? How can I let the past motivate me to make decisions and to make my world a better place? Okay, the second word of encouragement I have for you is this. It's a sad truth that a majority of offenders, whatever they've done, receive no substantial consequence for their bad acts. I've heard abuse survivors decry the fact that they've been left holding a proverbial bag of junk while their abuser is waltzing about scot-free. Here's the encouragement. Let me encourage you, push you, goad you to make recovery from adversity and trauma as personal as you can. That is, focus on being the best of who you are. Instead of focusing on the inequalities in your relationship with your abuser, continually concentrate on what you can control, and that is that you and you alone determine what you choose to believe about yourself, regardless of whether or not your abuser was held accountable for what he did. Those of you who've heard me speak before or who know me personally are well aware of the significance I place on the word control. That word can either be a curse word or it can be a word of victory, depending on how we use it. It's a curse word when you believe that someone else dictates to you what you think, feel, and do. But when you recognize that you are in charge of your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors, the word control becomes really powerful. Your abuser had negative intentions and he acted on them, but you can take charge by refusing to let someone determine who and what you will be. If you've ever talked with a mental health provider, you've almost certainly been told that a large part of abuse survival is changing the way you think. The way you think about yourself, the way you think about how things turned out. Look at that task as a wonderful opportunity for new discoveries. I can confidently tell you this, even though you and I may not have met in person before, there is much goodness in you. If you recognize that good fact, you will be pleasantly surprised of how in control you feel. Okay, my final word of encouragement to you is this. Survivors of abuse make really big gains when they share what they've learned with others. Not only others who've experienced troubles akin to theirs, but to people in their world who are fortunate enough to have lived a relatively trauma-free lifestyle. Giving is the least expensive form of receiving available to you. Think about all the things you enjoy receiving from others. A listening ear that shows that someone understands you, or knowing that your words are believed and that you're taken seriously as a person, or appropriate touches that remind you that it's worth being connected to people. Do these things to others. It will be of much comfort to them, and you'll benefit from the exchange in the process. Now, let me give you a word of caution. Some abuse survivors get ahead of themselves by trying too hard to be all things to all people. Always keep in mind that you can only give what you have. That's a gentle way for me to remind you to make sure your bucket is full before you decide to give to others. When I was actively involved in treating abuse survivors, one thing I repeatedly emphasized to my clients was to tell them to find a way to be of service to others. Time and time again, these people told me of the good things they felt and the good things they experienced when they extended a helping hand to someone else. That old adage really is true. It's better to give than to receive. Everyone who's been through a trauma follows a different path forward. But let me assure you this, there is a healing path available to you. I'm psychologist Lee Carter. If you'd like to leave a comment on what's helped you overcome past abuse, I and other viewers would really like to hear from you. I'm going to be posting additional videos in the future about recovering from adversity and trauma, including sexual assault. So I hope you'll subscribe to my channel. I sincerely want what's best for you. I'll look forward to being with you again soon.